Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Shay, and if you're new here, welcome. On this channel, we explore tarot, astrology, spirituality, manifestations, and the deeper energies shaping our lives. Today, we're talking about Saturn retrograde. Now, I know the word Saturn can make people nervous. Saturn is often called the planet of karma, discipline, responsibility, limitations, consequences, and life lessons. Then you add the word retrograde and you suddenly sound like the universe is preparing to put us through some type of cosmic punishment. But in reality, Saturn retrograde is not here to punish you. It's a period of reflection. It's a time where the lessons, responsibilities, boundaries, commitments, and structures in your life begin asking you for a deeper level of honesty. So during this energy, you may find yourself asking, am I living in alignment with the life I say I want? Am I carrying responsibilities that I no longer want or they belong to me? Where do I need to have stronger boundaries? What lessons have I been avoiding? Am I building something lasting, or am I simply trying to survive? Saturn retrograde is like a spiritual audit. The universe is not necessarily asking you to do more. It is asking you to become more intentional about what you want and what you're already doing. So get comfortable, because today we're going to explore what Saturn retrograde means, what you may experience during this period, and the lessons Saturn may bring to the surface, and also how we can work with energy instead of fearing it. Before we talk about Saturn retrograde, we need to understand Saturn itself. Now, in astrology, Saturn represents discipline, responsibility, structures, boundaries, time, maturity, authority, commitment, and long-term goals, and also karma, and the lesson that helps us grow into stronger, wiser versions of ourselves. Saturn is not usually interested in quick fixes. Saturn asks, can this last? Is this foundation strong? Are you willing to be consistent? And are you taking responsibility for your life? Saturn teaches us that some of the most important things we create require patience. A successful business may take years to build. A healthy relationship requires trust, communication, and accountability. Confidence is often developed through experience, and the life you dream about may require you to become a different version of yourself before you can fully sustain it. That is Saturn energy. Saturn may slow us down, but it often slows us down because there is something important we need to understand. When a planet is retrograde, its energy becomes more internal, reflective, and introspective. Saturn retrograde may cause you to revisit old responsibilities, unfinished lessons, previous commitments, or patterns connected to authority or in self-discipline. You may begin questioning the career path you're on, the structure of your daily life, the relationship with success, your definition of responsibility, the boundaries you have created, the promises you have made, the goals that you are pursuing, and you may also notice that the old lessons return. But this does not necessarily mean you're moving backwards. Sometimes a lesson returns because you are fully ready to understand it from a higher level. You may encounter a familiar situation and realize, wow, I would have handled this completely different a few years ago. Now that's growth. Saturn retrograde may reveal how much you have matured, even when you feel like you're being tested. Let's talk about karma, because Saturn is often connected with karmic lessons. Karma is not always punishment. Sometimes karma is simply cause and effect. It is the energy created through our choices, patterns, actions, and intentions. Saturn retrograde may ask you to examine the consequences of certain decisions. Are you honoring your commitments? Are you avoiding something that needs your attention? Are you repeating a pattern because it feels familiar? Are you giving away your power? Are you allowing people to cross boundaries you know should be protected? Saturn may bring awareness to these areas, not to shame you, but to help you become more conscious. The purpose is not guilt, the purpose is growth. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can say during Saturn retrograde is, I understand the lesson now. During Saturn retrograde, you may reconnect with an old situation, responsibility, person, dream, or fear. Maybe an old career goal comes back to your mind. Maybe you realize you never really fully healed from an experience involving authority, rejection, failure, or responsibility. Maybe you are being asked to revisit a project that you abandoned, or perhaps you're beginning to notice that you keep repeating the same relationship patterns over and over again. This is Saturn asking you, have you fully learned from this? And remember, a repeated lesson is not always a sign that you failed. Sometimes the lesson returns because you have changed. You may now have stronger boundaries, you may have more wisdom, you may finally be ready to choose differently. So the goal is not to recreate the past. The goal is to respond to the past from the person that you are now. One major theme during Saturn retrograde can be questioning your direction. You may be asking, is this career really for me? Or am I building something meaningful? Or am I doing this because I want to, or because I feel obligated to? Have I outgrown this role? Does this vision of success feel authentic to me? These questions can feel uncomfortable because Saturn asks us to be honest. But questioning your path does not automatically mean you need to abandon everything. Sometimes you do not need a completely new life. You simply need a stronger structure, a better schedule, clearer priorities, more discipline, more rest, more boundaries. Or it's just a deeper commitment to the vision that you already have. Saturn can help you recognize what needs to be adjusted before you continue on. Saturn is strongly connected with boundaries. During Saturn retrograde, you may realize where your boundaries have been weak. You may notice that you have been overcommitting, doing too much for other people, accepting responsibilities that are not yours, ignoring your own needs, or saying yes when you really want to say no. Also, trying to save everyone. Saturn may teach you that boundaries are not rejection. Boundaries are structure. They help protect your time, energy, peace, and your long-term goals. You may have to ask yourself, what am I responsible for and what am I not responsible for? That question alone can be extremely healing, because sometimes we carry burdens simply because we have carried them for so long. Saturn retrograde may give you the permission to put that down and let it go. Saturn is also associated with authority figures. During Saturn retrograde, you may reflect on your relationship with authority. How do you respect criticism? How do you trust your own judgment? Do you constantly seek approval? Do you feel that you must prove yourself? Are you afraid of disappointing people? Do you allow others to define your success? This retrograde may invite you to develop inner authority. Inner authority means learning to trust yourself while still remaining accountable. It means understanding that you do not need permission to honor your purpose. It means accepting responsibility for your choices. Saturn is not asking you to become controlling. It is asking you to become self-led. Viewing long-term goals, recognizing where you have been avoiding responsibility, feeling more serious or introspective, reevaluating your career, strengthening boundaries, revisiting unfinished business, or facing fears connected to failure or success. You may feel like progress is slow, but slow doesn't mean blocked. Sometimes slow progress gives you time to strengthen your foundation, and a strong foundation can support a much larger vision. Second, strengthen your boundaries. Notice when your energy is being drained. You may need to say no, you may need to delegate, and you may need to stop explaining yourself. Third, finish what is incomplete. Saturn appreciates consistency and follow through, so return to a project, responsibility, or goal that still matters to you. Fourth, create realistic structure. You do not have to transform your entire life overnight. So create one small habit you can maintain, like 1 hour focused work, a week planning session, a consistent spiritual practice, a healthier routine. Saturn values what you can sustain. Fifth, take responsibility without becoming harsh with yourself. Accountability does not have to sound like self-criticism. You can acknowledge what needs to change while still giving yourself some grace. The spiritual message of Saturn retrograde is your life is asking for deeper alignment, not perfection, alignment. So you may be learning how to become more disciplined without becoming rigid, more responsible without carrying everyone else's burdens, more ambitions without abandoning yourself, and more structured without losing your creativity. Saturn teaches us that spiritual growth is not only about receiving signs, manifesting desires, or following intuition. Sometimes spiritual growth is also keeping your promises, protecting your energy, being consistent, taking responsibility, and creating healthy boundaries. That's also building a life that can support the future that you're calling in. Saturn retrograde reminds us that the future is not created through dreams. It is created through the choices that we create and repeat. And turn on your notifications so you don't miss future astrology, tarot, and spiritual content from me. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm Shay, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.